Facebook Live, and my Zoom call, where I talk about ways to use your book to grow your authority, grow your business, close more sales, attract more people, all of that kind of thing. And I got my whiteboard here, not really whiteboard, but I got my flip chart here behind me. And so as I said on the Facebook Live, I'm going to talk about the perfect process to build or use a platform that attracts clients and closes sales, all using your best-selling book. That's the whole idea, is how can we do this stuff using your best-selling book? So here's kind of the flow that I want to talk about, that really for any kind of sale or any kind of purchase, especially for high ticket, for those of you that are coaches or consultants or in some way, financial advisors or doctors or dentists or authorities, etc. This is the flow that you have to take people through in one way or another to bring them into your business. It starts with a platform. A platform is a place that you are delivering your message, okay? And I'm going to talk about a dozen different platforms that we use and that you can use. I'll get to that in a second. You then move people where you're speaking in some way, shape, or form on this platform. You are communicating your message on this platform to a proposal in front of that platform. You are proposing something that piques the interest of the person that you want to attract into your business. So you go from this communicating your message on this platform to a proposal which gets somebody to raise their hand and say, hey, I am interested in what you have to offer or learning a little bit more. And then you take that person into some type of process to close the sale and make a purchase. Now, in the very beginning, I'll start with Life After Debt, which is the first book I wrote 10 years ago. In the very beginning, what I used Life After Debt for was initially I used Life After Debt to get on radio and get free PR. I was coming out of, the real estate crash, and I didn't have a ton of money to test on ads and paid advertising, which is what we primarily use today. And so I wanted to see if my book could get me on other people's platforms, right, via PR, so that I could deliver and communicate my message. So I sent my book out to tons of local radio stations to do like a Q&A radio thing. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just doing, right? I was just trying to get in front of people as the expert, as the best-selling author on the topic, and speaking engagements and that kind of thing. And then what that led to for me is when I finally landed a radio station and an opportunity, what that led to was it led to me being able to communicate to the radio station, which they loved, by the way. I told the radio station, look, if you have anybody that calls in and wants to ask a question, or if you just want to deliver great value to the listeners of your radio station, then just tell them I am willing to give them a physical copy of my book, Life After Debt, and I will actually ship it to them for free. No shipping charges, no nothing. That was long before there was such a thing as free plus shipping offers or any of those. It was free plus free. And I did that because I thought, this is my proposal. This is my way to get people to raise their hands, and it was pretty inexpensive, $2.50, $3 to print the book, and then another $1 or so to mail it out. And let me see how this might work. From there, and this was me thinking through, from there, I wanted to take those people that raised their hands, that called in to the radio station and gave me their name, their telephone number, their address, to a proposal to purchase something from me, from my company. And it worked exactly that way. I landed on some local radio stations. I did like live Q&A. I offered a copy of my best-selling book. I had a dozen or so people from the very first radio show call in and request a copy of my free book. And that very first day, that very first radio show that I was on, I closed a deal worth about $6,000 to my company. Now, what we ended up doing from a platform standpoint, because I want you to understand, platform isn't just something you build, it might be something that you use, other people's platform. You see, I didn't have any platform when I started with Life After Debt. I was using the radio station's platform, their listeners, getting in front of their platform. So what are some opportunities for platforms for you? Well, a platform could be a speaking engagement that you do on somebody else's stage. It could be a speaking engagement that you do on your own stage. A platform could be a radio show. It could be a television show. It could be appearing on somebody else's podcast. It could be your own podcast that you're doing. It could be a blog. For us today, it's Facebook ads. That is a platform for us. We want to put our message out and we want to get a return on investment. And because we have our metrics dialed in, we use Facebook ads, Google ads, etc. for our platform. Now, that also builds a following, and we have 100,000 or so followers on one of my Facebook pages and tens of thousands of followers on other pages that we do. And that's all terrific. But the reality is, for us, it's the paid media that is our platform. From there, we and you have to have some type of proposal. As I shared, my proposal was very simple. It was, hey, I'm going to give you this thing. It's a high-valued thing. If you went online to buy it right now, it would be $24.95. I'm going to give it to you for free, and I'm not even going to request a shipping charge. I'm going to send it to your house for free. Because at that time, I believed, I didn't know my metrics immediately, but at that time, I believed, you know what, if I can just get people to raise their hands and say they're interested in this book, then I think some of those people could become my clients. And you know what? 1 out of every 16 people that requested my book did become a client worth $5,000 to $6,000 to me. And that worked out really, really well as far as the numbers go, with me getting a wonderful return on investment, ultimately having my own radio show, doing paid radio advertising and all of those things. By the way, if you're in any type of financial field, for crying out loud, I mean, radio is still a wonderful medium. Financial services is a fantastic just mass media offer that you can give to people. So I don't know why people don't use radio more often. I think probably because they're afraid, and probably because they don't have this perfect process worked out. So again, we start with a platform. Now, here's what the book does in a cool way. Number one, the book will get you speaking engagements on somebody else's platform. Doesn't cost you anything other than perhaps maybe the flight out to do the speaking engagement, etc., right? The book can get you opportunities on radio, on television, on blogs, on podcasts. So literally, you can use your book to get on as many opportunities on an ongoing basis for free advertising, if you will, free exposure to somebody else's platform. Now, with that said, some of you may have an offer that isn't conducive to radio or television. Like my offer today for bestseller publishing isn't really conducive to the mass market, because my clients really primarily are business owners and coaches and consultants and entrepreneurs and people that are writing a book to build their authority and their platform. And when it comes to mass media like radio and TV, that person is just a small segment of that population. So I'm better off targeting my podcast, targeting my blogs, targeting my Facebook ads, my Google ads, etc. And you may be as well. Now, with that said, we always recommend to our clients that they do radio, they do TV, and they do mass market media, because it adds authority and credibility in your website and your pages and all the things that you're doing. Because people still want to know, yes, you're an author, but what other credibility do you have? And if you can show them all the media placements, then that gives you a tremendous amount of credibility. So the book can work right here. This is a great place for your book right there to get you platform opportunities. The cool thing is the book works just as well and even better right here as well. The book becomes your proposal. Now, I thought about calling this Facebook Live and calling this class, Why to Never Give Away Your Book for Free on Social Media. Now, I decided not to, because there are still, potentially times to give away your book for free, meaning the digital version of your book, not a free plus shipping. I think free plus shipping is great. But the reason that oftentimes social media and your books don't work is that social media is interruption marketing. Meaning that people are, scrolling their newsfeed and they come across your thing, your book, your ad, your whatever. And oftentimes when it comes to a book, it's something that is 100, 150 pages, 200 pages, And people aren't quite ready to consume that much content. Because it's an interruption in their life, they want something faster that they can consume rather than a long book. So oftentimes books don't work great when it comes to like free downloads. However, they do work great when it comes to proposals in front of a platform. And here's what I mean by that. Let's say that you targeted your book as a free plus shipping offer in front of your ideal client with paid advertising. Well, guess what? If your offer is compelling in front of your ideal client, not in a mass media way, but targeted, and it's free plus even a $6.95 shipping charge, then you're going to have some serious people raise their hands and say, you know what, I want that. I think that could be really helpful for me. That's something that's interesting. And when you have somebody that pulls out their credit card and is willing to pay even $6.95, then guess what? That's somebody that is a buyer. And a buyer is a buyer is a buyer, as Dan Kennedy likes to say, meaning that somebody that spends that much may be willing to spend a lot more for you. And then what you do is you take them from that initial proposal into a purchase. Now, let me tell you about bestseller publishing for just a second so you understand how we do some of that stuff today. So I already mentioned that one of the platforms we use today is Facebook ads, Google ads, Instagram ads, things like that, because our market is a very niche targeted market. It's not for the masses. It's for specific people that are interested in publishing their book. We then, from that pinpoint targeting, we offer them a proposal of some kind. That proposal could be, a client's book of ours, like the Kevin Harrington book that we did, or Shanda's, or Talking More's, or something like that. And we let people know, hey, this is something that we've done for a client that has produced great results. Is this something that you're interested in? If they are, we make our proposal. Then we take them to the next step. And the next step is the opportunity for them to have a one-on-one call with us. And that one-on-one call, which we call a strategy session or an author strategy session, is all about how a book might be able to help them to achieve their goals, grow their platform, grow their authority, make more money, etc. And this is where we lead people to the purchase. So the platform for us, again, a lot of paid media, plus I appear on people's podcasts. I appear on media on a regular basis. I just had 2 speaking engagements in the last month, so I do that on a regular basis too. We then give a proposal. The proposal is, would you like to have a one-on-one call with us? And then that leads to the opportunity to purchase. I shared with you how I did it with Life After Debt. It was the radio show, somebody else's platform. The proposal was, hey, here's a free book for you. If this is of interest to you, call in the radio station, give us your info. Then we got on the telephone with them, and we offered to help them with the services that they need, and 1 out of about 16 actually did that. So these things will work for you. Now, it may not be radio that works, and it may not be, a podcast specifically that works. It may have to be something that's targeted, but that's stuff that will work for you. You just need help with actually narrowing it down and figuring it out with somebody that's already figured it out, like bestseller publishing like us. Anyway, I hope that's really helpful to you. I hope that makes sense and you understand the whole platform to proposal to purchase, because your book will help you in these first 2 areas. And then in the 3rd area with authority and credibility, it'll help you to close more deals. So your book is pivotal in all 3 of these areas. I hope that makes sense. I'm going to go ahead and close out the Facebook Live, and then I'm going to jump over to BSP University and answer all of your questions and help in any way I can with this stuff. So there we go. Facebook Live is done. Let me go ahead and post it. What we'll also do for my BSP clients, what we'll also do so that you guys know, is we'll actually run traffic to that video, because that video then becomes a platform. And so we'll pay $30, $40, $50, and we'll get 7,000, 8,000, 9,000 views. In fact, let's look here. Let's look at the last one that I did. Maybe I can share my screen and I can show you guys, so that makes sense. So here we go. So let me share my screen so you guys see how we're actually running traffic to it which sounds fancy, but it's not. So this is already posted this week's right there, okay? This is last week's. So I did this last week, and I talked about inexpensive ways to use your book to double or more your income. And when I say or more, I mean way more. Well, you can see, I think we spent like $30 on this. We reached 4,827 people. We got 2,200 views of this. We got a few comments and various other things where people said some stuff. Don Hutchinson shared it for me. We got some likes, etc. More than likely, and I don't know, just looking at the data that I have here, but more than likely we had a person or two fill out a strategy session form, because as you can see, what I did right here is I went and put in the first comment, for more information, go to go.bestsellerpublishing.org next bestseller. And if I click on that so that you can see it, this is my offer page. This is our kind of what we call our indoctrination or authority page, which almost all of you have seen, right? Because you've probably come through this process. And so people see a video that's kind of a, warm and fuzzy, so they get to know me and my story a little bit. They get to see information about how the process works. That was when I had a baby face and no facial hair. I might go back to that, though. I look too old with all this white. And then they can see a couple of testimonial videos. They can see written case studies of clients that experience massive success. And then if they want to apply for a strategy session, they just click and they go to this page, and this page they fill out. So we'll do the exact same thing. Going back to this, we'll do the exact same thing with this Facebook post. And in fact, let me comment on it right here. And I'll say, for more information, go to, boom. And so same kind of thing. We only got 28 views. That's nothing. But we'll boost it for 30 or 40 bucks. And with that 30 or 40 bucks, we may get 2 or 3 people that apply. It's one process. It's one step. It's not, this isn't the only thing we do, right? It's like to get 20 or 30 applications a day, which is what we do. We don't do just one thing. We might have to do 5 things or 10 things or whatever to have all of these things working in conjunction by giving information and making having it on a platform. In this case, Facebook Live is a platform. The proposal is, hey, next bestseller, go.bestseller publishing, next bestseller, and then that leads to a one-on-one call. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing and go back on our page here. So, I know I hit a lot of different things and kind of ran through everything from how I use this with mass media to how I use paid traffic now. But this is the general process that will work for you in your business. You have to first think platform. Do I want my platform to be speaking engagements? Do I want to do my own events? Do I want to have my own radio show? Do I want to appear on other people's radio show? Do I want to have my own podcast? Do I want to appear on other people's podcasts? Blogs, Facebook ads, Google ads, even networking, which obviously networking is something that is much slower but very inexpensive to do. That is a platform. That then leads to the proposal. The proposal should always have the book as a part of it, because that's what creates your authority and attracts people to you. And then you can move them into a sales, like consultative sales call, which gets them to take the next step. And by the way, we have a full training in the membership area on how to do these consultative sales calls so that you can see exactly how you can fit these pieces in your own business and offer real value to people while making them an offer to work with you, so that it doesn't feel salesy or weird, and it doesn't, like push them. Instead, it's like a pull. And I know it is backwards. Someone said it looks right to us, not back. Oh, it looks right to you guys. That's great. For some reason on my screen, it looks backwards. So I'm glad it's right for you guys. So tons of people on today. Really glad to have you guys on. I actually have Bob on also to help answer any questions or share some analysis and feedback. So Bob, if you want to share anything, feel free to jump in and do so. If you guys have any questions, now is the time to jump in and ask. And I am going to share a couple of things before we end about 2 events that we have coming up, depending on where you are in bestseller publishing. So I'll share about that before we close out. But anything, Bob, you want to share? Are there any questions? And Issa says, yes, that's why they have the mirror effect setting. I don't know what these settings are, Issa. I'm doing the best I can. I can barely push a couple of buttons here. So that's good. Thank you. The mirror effect setting. You're doing great. Good. Good to know. So any questions? Does this make sense to you guys? Give me a little feedback. Hi, Brenda. Give me some feedback and tell me that you understand this platform proposal purchase process here. Give me some feedback and let me know that it makes sense. And if you don't exactly know where you fit and how your thing fits in it, totally cool. That's part of figuring it out, right? And testing and trying. But you have to think, and this is where I think a lot of people make mistakes initially. You have to figure out the platform piece. I love paid advertising. Is that because paid advertising is cheap? No, it's not. But I love paid advertising because it gives a wonderful, consistent result. Like I know if I'm going to spend $1,000 on Facebook today, which I'm going to spend about that's going to get me, 10, 15, 20 applications. And of those 20 applications, maybe 1 or 2 of those people are going to become done-for-you clients paying us $13,000 to $30,000. So the ROI works out great for me when it comes to using paid advertising. Now, if you say, well, I'm not ready for paid advertising, totally cool. Then what you have to understand is whatever your platform is going to be, podcasts, radio shows, speaking engagements, blogs, etc., networking, you have to keep doing that, okay? You got to do it every week. You got to do it every month. You got to do it every year. If you're going to start a blog, you need to be consistent with it. If you're going to start a podcast, you got to do 2 or 3 shows every week. If you want to be on radio because that's where your people are, then you have to book yourself on radio shows, not just once or twice, but on a regular basis, because you have to keep giving your message on the platform, which then leads to your proposal. Hey, get a free copy of my book or whatever. So Scott says, makes total sense. Tiana says, hi, Rob and bravo. The system is simple and brilliant. Thank you, hugs. Thank you. Thanks for your feedback. Any questions about this? Questions about like how this might fit for you or whatever? Brenda says, I'd like to ask those who are willing to download and read a few chapters of my book and offer a review that can be Amazon verified. Love this. I'd greatly appreciate it and thank everyone in advance that's willing to help me out. The system's helpful. Okay, so beautiful. So Brenda, go on the Facebook private mastermind page and mention that and post a link. Brenda will have her book at 99 cents. And she actually, you posted a link right here. So anybody that's in the chat box, you have the link right there. So do this. If you wouldn't mind, please do that for Brenda. You don't have to read the entire book. Read a couple of chapters, and then in your review, mention the things that you're learning in those chapters so it's obvious and clear that you read those. And then when your time comes and your book is done, we'll do the exact same thing. Brenda will offer reviews to your book, etc. So I would also post that in the Facebook group, Brenda, because we have a few dozen people on the line here. But there will be more people that also see it in the Facebook group. So if there's anybody else at this place, like at the review phase, then go ahead and mention that right now in the chat box, and we'll go ahead and get some reviews set for you too. Michael says, has anyone told you that you're awesome today? Because you are. I appreciate that. I need that. I like that. I'm at the age now where it's like, hey, in the past, I'd have been like, oh, no, it's okay. But, you get to a certain age, you're like, yeah, tell me more.
Oh, what is your name?
Who's this? Someone didn't mute themselves. I'm going to go ahead and mute you. There you go. You're out. You're not out. You're just muted. So what else can I answer for you guys? Kate says this is our first meeting. Hi, Kate. Good to see you guys. How are you? So any questions or anything that you guys, does this all make sense to you and how you want to use your book? You're in the financial field. So, there's lots of cool ways that you guys can use your stuff, right? We can talk about all of that stuff for you too. Brenda says, I'll post it there too. Also, I've reviewed for others and it's a great experience in learning. Thanks again. Oh, and I concur with Michael. Thanks, Brenda. Now you're coming out too, Brenda, right? Does this work in terms of ROI? Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's massive return on investment. I assume that you're not talking about 99-cent reviews, but you're talking about this. This is all about return on investment. This is all about spending $1 and making 10, 20, 30. Or when it comes to platform, it's all about getting in front of other people's platform. It doesn't cost you anything. I did a couple of speaking engagements in the last couple of weeks. And at those speaking engagements, I don't know what the total numbers are, but I assume that we're going to do 6 figures in sales because of those speaking engagements. And that's because you're in front of a big platform of your ideal clients. And if you do a good job in front of that platform, they want your stuff. So, whether it's speaking or podcast or blogs or whatever, you get on the platform, you make your proposal, and you're going to get some purchases. You're going to close some deals. Therese says, on a support topic, what is the email to get information on my past purchase and access information? I lost those details. So go ahead and email Rebecca at bestsellerpublishing.org. I'm going to go ahead and put it in the chat box, Rebecca at bestsellerpublishing.org. There you go. Publishing. Good. Just email Rebecca and she'll take care of that for you, Therese. Irene says, yes, but I'm asking when you don't have high-end products. Okay. So, yes, harder when you don't have high-end products, right? Because you have to sell more. If you want to make $1 million, if you could sell one thing for $1 million, that's great, right? If you have something that's valuable, it's easy, one sale. On the other hand, if you're selling something for $1, you have to sell 1 million of those. Which is harder, selling 1 million things or selling a thing once? It's always hard to sell a thing 1 million times. So if all of your stuff is lower ticket, like maybe we're just talking about book sales, then what you have to have is you have to have volumes of books for sale, volumes of lower end, lower ticket products for sale. So you might do books, you might do swag, you might have volume 1, 2, 3, and 4 of a series of books. You have to start thinking in terms of, creating like a content library that you can offer. The other thing I'd say, Irene, is try to think in terms of how can I offer a higher end product? What can I do to offer something that's more expensive? You might be surprised, but there might be some really easy ways to offer something that's more expensive that has more engagement with you. I don't know what the details are, but I'm happy to kind of brainstorm that and think about it with you. So Naomi says, whoops, I just clicked off. Naomi says, once I get my book published, if you give away the ebook version, aren't I losing sales doing it that way? So yes, but if all you're selling is an ebook, then it matters, right? But if I give away this, as opposed to selling it for $24.95, how many $25 sales do I need to make before I make 6,000, right? I don't know how many, but a lot, right? 4 is 100. I need to make like 240. That's probably not right, but something like that. I need to make a lot, right? But I gave away 16 of these and made a $6,000 sale. So, you have to do the math for yourself, Naomi. Don't worry about losing out the lesser amount. Worry about, attracting your ideal client that can give you a bigger check because you can create a bigger result in their life. I hope that makes sense. Mike says, in my digital book, I want to have a link to buy a t-shirt with a slogan from the book. Cool. That's cool. Swag like that is cool to do. You can offer other things like bumper stickers and all that. But Michael, what you really need to offer is high-end coaching and consulting because you're in the self-help industry. And so that's what you need to offer. You don't want people to buy t-shirts. You want to give everybody that bought your $25,000 program a free t-shirt. You know what I'm saying? Or it comes to your event, you give them a free t-shirt, and then at your event, they become clients of yours, etc. So you got to think bigger dollars. You can totally do the buy a t-shirt. I'm not telling you not to, but I'm telling you, you got to make sure you have the other things in place too. Chris says, Rob, other than Facebook groups, blogs, forums, what optimal methods do you suggest to hear the pain and frustrations and aspirations in our target audience? In our target audience's own words, thanks. Good question, Chris. I mean, what you have right there is a really good list to start. Forums are fantastic to hear about the problems and pains and frustrations of people. Facebook groups are great as well. If you have an email list of people that are your potential clients or past clients, I would survey them. I'd ask really specifically about why they became your clients, what their biggest frustrations are, how you help them overcome those frustrations, etc. So I think, honestly, what you mentioned, blogs, Facebook groups, forums, you're going to get tons of content. And look, if you do that, Chris, you are going to be so far ahead of your competition because no one does this. No one takes a step back and thinks for a minute, what's the real pain in my group, right? And what is it in their own words? Because if you can put it in their own words, man, you are so far ahead of your competition. So, just do what you're suggesting, and you're gonna be golden. Michael says, what's your expertise on this idea? You have to explain what you mean, Michael. So what's your expertise on the idea of creating coaching? I'm not sure what you mean by that. So do me a favor and just ask the question a little bit more specifically and I'll answer it for you. Kate says, is there an advantage to associate with Amazon Prime Books or Kindle Unlimited to get readers? There is absolutely always an advantage. You want to take advantage of what Amazon is offering you, because Amazon is the biggest publishing platform in the world. And if you give them what they want, they're going to send traffic your way for your books. So absolutely, anything like that is very, very helpful with Amazon. What I tell my clients, and for authors, this is oftentimes hard, and even we had a question earlier that indicates this, but I tell my clients, look, it's more important for you to get your book into your ideal client's hands than for you to worry about making money at this level, right? Don't let your first inclination be, I got to make money here, okay? Let that come later. First, get this into people's hands, because if it's good and if you have other things to offer them that are really valuable, then they're going to want to do business with you. And it's going to be very, very attractive to them. So the more you can do that, the better. Now, I'm not saying always give your book away for free. Always sell your book online. Always have it priced, $20 to $25 for the physical version. But just in terms of thinking, always think, I want to get this into as many people's hands as possible. How can I do that? Because that's going to kind of position you the right way when it comes to the higher end sale. Naomi says, I don't know how much it costs or how to set up an ebook. So Naomi, if you're on this, then you're a client of some kind of bestseller publishing, because this is only for clients. So that means that you bought, maybe my information product on how to do this stuff yourself. So if you're in BSP University, or if you're, part of the Publish My Bestseller program, then all of that training is in the membership area. And if you have a problem in the membership area and don't remember your login and password and all that stuff, then just email Rebecca. I put her email address in here earlier, and she'll look up your information and she'll get it back out to you. Chris says, good suggestion, Rob, surveying them, but I do not have a list yet. Thanks for your answers. You are welcome. Kate says, thanks also. Michael, you didn't repost about my question when you said, what's your expertise on this idea? And I didn't totally know what you meant. So if you want to ask that, go ahead and do that now. So I don't see any other questions. So let me mention a couple of things. So for those of you, Michael says I already answered. Okay, great. So for those of you that are we basically have two programs with Bestseller Publishing, and you are in one of the two. Either you decided to pay us a smaller amount of money, like $1,000 or so or less, and you want to do all the work yourself. You still want to get advice and coaching like on calls like this, but you want to do the publishing, you want to do the launch of the book yourself, you want to do the writing of the book yourself, you want to do the PR and all of that. And that's what we call Bestseller Publishing University, or Publish My Bestseller. On the other hand, you're on this call because you paid us a larger amount of money and you wanted us to do the work, actually do the launch for you, actually write the book with our team, actually book you on radio and media. So I have events for both of you, okay? On December 1st and 2nd, I'm going to be doing an event. It's a small event. It's only going to be about 20 or so people. And I already have a list of pretty good size list. Brenda, your name's on there. Scott, your name's on there. It's like 15 of the 20 are already kind of booked. And maybe I'll open up to 25, but it's going to be very, very small so we can sit in a horseshoe and work together. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking all about this stuff, all about the monetization, all about the next steps with your book, all about what is your platform and what is your proposal and how are you going to close deals. This is all about the big checks and using your book to make 7 figures and beyond, okay? So those of you that, are in our Done For You program where we're doing all those services, you're going to come, or you're welcome to come to the December 1st and 2nd event. That's at the Westin LAX, and I'll post the details in BSP, the membership area, in the Facebook group, private Facebook group. If you want to be a part of that, do me a favor. Call the office or email me personally, rob@bestsellerpublishing.org, whatever, and I'll set aside a place for you. And your spouse can come as well. That's totally cool. On the other hand, if you're doing this stuff yourself and you want my help and our team's help in like rolling up our sleeves and thinking through everything from your title, your subtitle, how to get your book launched, how to get great PR opportunities, all that stuff, then that 2-day event is December 8th and 9th, also at the Westin LAX. And I think some of you are booked for that. I think, Issa, you're booked for that, right? And we're offering like a VIP thing because we always do a dinner one of the nights, and basically I just pay for dinner and drinks. And somehow everybody drinks so much. I charge $97 a person, but we spend way more than that. Anyway, it's a lot of fun. So you'll come to that event if you're in our kind of do-it-yourself program, and we'll roll up our sleeves together and dive in and really help to get a lot of these questions answered for you. So 2 events based on kind of where you're at and what it is that you're asking for help from us, either December 8th and 9th for the Done For You clients, December 1st and 2nd for the Done For You clients, or December 8th and 9th for our Bestseller Publishing University or Publish My Bestseller clients. I hope that makes sense and you guys got all that. Irene says, is it going to be live streamed for those who can't attend? It is not, but it is going to be recorded, and I will make the recordings available to you. So you can have the recordings to it and go through it that way. So I never thought about doing live stream, but that could be cool too. But I don't think we have the time to get it all done at this point, although maybe I'll look into it. It will be recorded though, don't worry. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. Any other questions? I know we've been going about 40 minutes or so. Great to be on with you. Thank you for your trust in me and Bestseller Publishing. Those of you that are coming out to LA, really excited to meet some of you for the first time face-to-face and spend time with you and break bread and really talk about exciting ways to help you to grow your business, because ultimately this book is about creating meaningful celebrity so that you can really grow your business, grow your message, grow your platform. So you guys are great. Thanks so much and have a great day. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will post in the group as well for those of you that are wondering about the meetings. Thanks.